The New South Wales Government is just providing an update. This is on the steps being taken to avoid potential blackouts. They could be happening this afternoon. The issue, the stress on the system exacerbated by a heat wave. The government is actually already asking people, this is what Chris Minns has just said a short time ago, to reduce intense power usage where possible, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. So obviously the number one there is always going to be air conditioners, but that's what he is already talking about. Let's have a listen live to the Premier.
But we are in a transition period, and right now the reason the lights are on and people can use air conditioning, and we've got an opportunity to explain to people where we're at in terms of the 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Crunch time, is because solar is producing so much energy for the grid as it currently stands. In the years ahead, with battery technology and a bigger uptake of renewables, that will increase in time. But two things are happening. The climate's changing, and we're obviously in a transition when it comes to energy. We're not just relying on that though. The government made a decision before we were even elected to reduce as much as possible the volatility in energy production by keeping a major coal-fired power station open longer than the previous government was going to, and that's Eraring. I think that was the right decision given how much capital and investments taking place in the energy production and generation in the state.
Chris Minns speaking there. So again, that warning to reduce that intense use of energy if possible between 3 and 8 p.m. is where they're expecting, or when they're expecting, the most stress on the grid. It has been a very warm end to spring for much of New South Wales. A heat wave has been sweeping the state, been pretty hot here in Canberra as well. We've got full coverage on the warm weather expected to peak in Sydney today. First to Sky News weather reporter Lucy Polkinghorn in Parramatta. So Lucy, this is our hottest run of spring days in 4 years.
That's right, Tom, and also our first November heat wave in 4 years too. Now, this quite prolonged heat really started to build from the weekend. This is day 5 of temperatures above 30 degrees in the west. Penrith was the hottest place in Sydney yesterday, with the mercury climbing up to 39.7 degrees. We are expecting temperatures similar today, so nudging that 40-degree mark. I'm down here at Lake Parramatta, where I was expecting to see quite a few more people down here cooling off, but it's almost too hot to be outside. As for coastal Sydney, well, a sea breeze did keep a lid on those temperatures yesterday. We saw maximums around the 30-degree mark. We don't have that luxury of that cooling system today. So coastal Sydney expecting maximum temperatures in the mid-30s. So that's around 10 degrees above the average for this time of the year. At Sydney Airport at 10 a.m. this morning, it was already 34 degrees. Unfortunately, Tom, there's not much relief in sight this evening. We're expecting warm, muggy conditions with the risk of some storms. Overnight temperatures only dropping down to the early 20s, so our warmest overnight temperatures since March of this year. As we head into Thursday, though, a little bit of wet weather around, so that will cool temperatures down. So for coastal Sydney, expecting maximums in the high 20s, so still above average. Western Sydney, though, will still be under a heat wave warning, but a noticeable drop in those daytime temperatures from the high 30s into the low 30s. As we head towards the weekend, we're expecting wet weather to increase, so still quite muggy, warm conditions and quite uncomfortable with that too. So, Tom, a sure sign that summer is just around the corner.